Good day, everyone. Today, I'll be discussing feedback strategies. Let me start with a simple question. Have you ever submitted an assignment and received only a grade without knowing what you did well or what you needed to improve? This is why feedback is important. Feedback is not simply about giving students a score, it helps students understand their strengths, weaknesses, and areas for improvement so they can make progress toward their learning goals. So, what is feedback strategy? A feedback strategy is a systematic approach to providing students with information about their learning progress and performance. In simple terms, feedback helps answer the three questions. Where am I now? What am I doing well? What can I improve? For example, instead of a teacher simply saying, "Good job," the teacher can say, "Your main idea is clear, but you need to provide more supporting details." This is more useful because the student knows both their strength and what they need to improve. Therefore, effective feedback should not just point out mistakes, it should guide students toward improvement. Now let us move on to designing feedback strategies. A good feedback strategy has six important elements. First, clear learning objectives. Second, ongoing assessment. Third, timely feedback. Fourth, self-reflection. And fifth, goal setting. And sixth, action planning. Let us briefly discuss each one. First one is clear learning objectives. Students need to know what they are expected to learn. For example, instead of simply saying, "Write an essay," the teacher can say, "Write a well-organized essay with a clear introduction, supporting details, and conclusion." This gives students a clear target and makes the feedback easier to understand. The second one is ongoing assessment. Teachers should continuously check student learning instead of assessing students only at the end. This can be done through quizzes, assignments, formative assessments, and class discussions. This allows teachers to identify difficulties early and provide the necessary support. The third one is timely feedback. Feedback is more useful when it is given soon after students complete their work. When students receive feedback while the lesson is still fresh in their minds, they can better understand their mistakes and apply suggestions. The fourth is self-reflection. Students should be encouraged to think about their own learning. They can ask themselves, what did I do well? What was difficult for me? What can I do better next time? This develops metacognition or the ability to think about them and monitor one's own learning. The fifth is goal setting. After receiving feedback, students can set specific goals for improvement. For example, a student who struggles with grammar can set a goal to review grammar rules and apply them correctly in the next activity. Lastly, we have action planning. Students need to know what steps they will take to reach their goals. For example, instead of simply saying, "I want to improve my writing," a student can plan to practice writing, review examples, and ask for feedback on their next work. So the process can be remembered as set objectives, assess learning, give feedback, reflect, set goals, and take action. Now, let us move on to what does good feedback look like. Now, let us discuss the characteristics of a good feedback. According to our material, effective feedback should have several important characteristics. First, it focuses on specific learning objectives. Feedback should clearly connect to what the student is expected to learn. For example, instead of saying, "Your work needs improvement," a teacher could say, "Your main idea is clear, but you need more evidence to support it." The second statement is more specific and useful. Second, it provides actionable suggestions. Students should know what they can actually do to improve. For example, instead of saying, "Improve your grammar," the teacher can say, "Review your use of verb tenses and make sure they are consistent." This gives the student a clear action to take. Third is feedback encourages reflection. Students should not simply receive comments, they should also think about why they made these mistakes and how they can avoid in the future. Fourth is, feedback should be timely. It should be provided as soon as possible after the work is completed, so students can still use it effectively. Fifth, feedback should be respectful. Feedback should be constructive and encouraging, not embarrassing or discouraging. For example, instead of saying, "This is a bad paragraph," a teacher can say, "Your main idea is interesting. Try organizing your supporting details more clearly." The second statement addresses the problem while still encouraging the student. Lastly, a good feedback should include praise and recognition. Teachers should not focus only on mistakes, they should also recognize what students are doing well. For example, your introduction is strong. For your next draft, focus on improving the organization of your supporting details. This allows students to recognize their strengths while working on their own weaknesses. Now, let us move on to the four forms of feedback found in our material: written feedback, verbal feedback, peer feedback, and self-assessment. The first is written feedback. This is one of the most common forms of feedback. Teachers can write comments on assignments, projects, essays, or assessments. For example, good use of examples. However, your second paragraph needs more explanation. Students can review their comments while improving their work. Second is verbal feedback. This is feedback given directly to students either in person or through video conferencing. For example, after a presentation, a teacher might say, "Your delivery was confident, but try speaking a little slower so your audience can understand you better." The third one is verbal feedback. Also allows students to immediately ask questions and clarify what the teacher means. Next one is peer feedback. This happens when students provide feedback to each other's work. For example, students can exchange essays and give suggestions to their classmates. Peer feedback can promote collaboration, communication, and critical thinking skills. However, students should be taught to give feedback respectfully and constructively. Fourth is self-assessment. This is when students evaluate their own learning progress and performance. They can ask themselves, "Did I achieve the objective? What did I do well? What should I improve?" Self-assessment promotes self-reflection, metacognition, and self-confidence. In conclusion, feedback is an important part of learning. It is not simply about giving grades or pointing out mistakes. Effective feedback helps students understand their performance, recognize their strengths, identify weaknesses, and determine how they can improve. Feedback strategy includes clear learning objectives, ongoing assessment, timely feedback, self-reflection, goal setting, and action planning. Good feedback should also be specific, actionable, timely, respectful, reflective, and encouraging. Finally, feedback can be given through written feedback, verbal feedback, peer feedback, and self-assessment. The most important thing to remember is that feedback should lead to improvement. When students understand feedback, reflect on it, set goals, and take action, feedback becomes a powerful tool for learning and growth. So rather than thinking of feedback as simply telling students what they did wrong, we should think of it as a guiding students toward becoming better learners. That would be all for my report. Thank you for listening.